Let's also quickly listen into some eyewitnesses, the accounts of people who witnessed those volley of missile and drone attacks in Jammu and other regions. Let's see what they had to say.
मैं कपड़ों का काम करता हूँ। रात को जब 8 बजे तो ऊपर से हमने देखा ड्रोन 3-4 आ गए। उसके बाद जब फायरिंग हो गई तो हमने देखा तो कई बच्चे हमने आगे पीछे किए तो इधर तो बहुत फायरिंग चली रात को। पूरी रात ही चलती रही। बीच में जब 8 बजे तो शुरू हो गया था, लेकिन इधर तो 4-5 तो इधर चिचिपाता में, सांबा में 2-4 तो हो गए क्रैश। बाकी तो ठीक है, बाकी तो खैर तो चल रहा है अभी भी। अभी सुनो तो जरा पूरी रात चलती रही। बाकी जो देखो क्या बनता आगे।
All right, those are some of the eyewitnesses' account. We'll try and get you more. But the latest that we also know right now is that flights between North India and parts of West India may get longer in case there are diversions after 27 airports were closed along the western border. Rajkot was among the diversion alternate airports for single-aisle aircraft taking longer route to and from the west after the closure of the Pakistani airspace on 24th of April. Airports that have been closed, remember, till Saturday morning include Srinagar, Jammu, Leh, Chandigarh, Amritsar, Ludhiana, Patiala, Bhatinda, Halwara, Pathankot, Bhuntar, Shimla, Gaggal, Dharmshala, Kishangarh, Jaisalmer, Jodhpur, Bikaner, Mundra, Jamnagar, Rajkot, Porbandar, Kandla, Keshod, Bhuj, Gwalior and Hindon. So all these airports will remain closed up until Saturday. All these airports and their closure will essentially mean that flights will get longer in days to come. India is on a war footing, as I mentioned earlier, trying to protect its civilian infrastructure. As a result of it, precautionary measures have been taken, and that includes shutting down of airports in many parts of India. My colleague Kartik Malhotra, Brijesh Pandey continue to be with us. Major General Gigi Dwivedi is also with us. Kartik, as many as more from what I'm looking at, more than 10 to 12 airports along the western front are closed, which essentially means it's going to be difficult for citizens to move from one place to another, and the flights that are likely to ply will get longer.
You're right, Shweta, and in fact statements are coming in from Air India and Indigo as well about potential disruptions to flight schedules of civilian passengers who had booked their tickets. In fact, Indigo has also gone ahead and said that there's going to be a full refund for those who are unable to fly thanks to these airport closures. But more importantly, I think the airport names that we are flashing on the screens, and we should bring them back, I think it's important to note, and General Dwivedi would be able to reconfirm that most of these are actually Indian Air Force airstrips which also operate as civilian runways. So if Pakistan were to launch another escalatory strike on India, then of course these are the cities that are more likely to be potential targets as opposed to civilian pure play civilian airports. So the fact being that there is a likelihood of Pakistan further escalating matters and India wanting to be completely prepared to be able to launch its aircraft or its or any other S-400 or any other air defense systems without any disruption and without really being worried about civilian aircraft up in the air in that vicinity. So that seems to be the main reason behind why these specific airports have been closed. Hindon, which is in the vicinity of Delhi NCR, in fact, just a few kilometers out of where we operate, we are in Noida and this is somewhere near Ghaziabad. Hindon also originally is an Indian Air Force air base and has transport aircrafts operating from there. So I think closure of the and Hindon was just recently opened, in fact, for civilian aircraft also to fly to and from. So the fact that all these airports have been and airstrips have been closed for civilian aircraft is simply so that India doesn't want any civilian movement in the line of conflict if the need arises to be such.